Hey, what's happening, guys? It's your boy JJM from the MMA Breakdowns channel, back again with another video. And in today's video, we will be talking about my top 6 favorite fighters in the UFC of all time. Funny story how I came about with the inspiration for this video. I was playing cricket last Saturday with a friend, well, multiple friends, and this specific one told me, "Hey, dumbass, how do you have a YouTube channel but you never posted your top fighters or the fighters that you like in the UFC?" Funny he's calling me a dumbass when he's a midget, but yeah, shout out to you, my guy Malachi, and of course, here's the video as I promised, and without further ado, let's get into my favorite UFC fighters of all time. In at number 5, we have John Jones. Whoops. I mean, John Jones. John Jones, he would have been higher on my list, but unfortunately, there's a little issue of him ducking one Tom Aspinall. So, yeah. And he has been acting a little funny lately, but it's still John Jones, so it is what it is. But what can I say about the guy? He's extraordinary, he's very talented. When it comes down to mixed martial arts, the reason why I like John Jones is his fighting style. He has wrestling, he has good, well, not boxing, but he mixed the martial arts together. He has a little bit of boxing, a little bit of Muay Thai, a little bit of submissions in BJJ, and it just, he has charisma, you know. And did I mention that John Jones is one of the greatest of all time? So yeah, for that reason, I have John Jones as one of my favorite fighters. But he's occupying the number 5 spot because, yeah, he's ducking Aspinall. In at number 4, we have the GOAT himself, Mr. Anderson Silva, the greatest middleweight to ever walk the planet ever. Like, you talk about legendary wins against Rich Franklin, Forrest Griffin, of course, Chael Sonnen. Man, he has done it all. This is a guy that was on a 10 fight win streak with, I believe, 9 title defenses. Talk about his skills, man. Anderson Silva was a striking wizard. When I say striking wizard, he looked godlike, especially the way he destroyed Forrest Griffin. Man, it was impressive. I can remember when I was younger, back in like 2011. I remember seeing ads on the TV about Anderson Silva fighting. I think it was for the second chill fight. And I wasn't a big fan of the UFC back then, but they showed a clip where this guy front kicked Vitor's face in, and coming back to UFC many many years later, when I actually learned the sport and learned the history, that really captivated me, and I really took a liking to him because of his fight style. And then he went on to have like a passing of a torch moment with another one of my favorite fighters, which will be later on this list. But man, when I say Anderson Silva was one of the greatest of all time, trust me, he was. Dominant performances, multiple title defenses, man. And I know a lot of middleweights are going to try to catch up to him, but I think they're going to have a task in catching up to that great man. And for that reason, Mr. Anderson Silva ranks number 4 on my list. In at number 3, we have the welterweight GOAT, in my opinion, Mr. Kamaru Usman. Man, they called him all kind of names: Smarty Newsman, Smarty Snoozman, and guess what? Now that his reign has come to an end, they miss him, including me myself. I really think, had Kamaru not being beaten by Leon Edwards, or Leon didn't get that fluke head kick, he still would have been reigning over the welterweight division. I honestly think that it was just bad happenstance to have Leon land that head kick, and the MMA gods just wanted to have a laugh. But what can I say about Kamaru Usman? This guy, legend, right? Think about a guy who started off his MMA career with the Black Zillions, and he was a heavy wrestler. Not a very fan friendly style at times, but then he fucks up Tyron Woodley like really, really bad, embarrasses him, takes the strap from him. Then he has one more snooze fest with Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal talks some shit. He said, "All right, you wait right there." He knocks out Gilbert Burns. Thanks to Trevor Whitman. Thank you so much. And he rematched with Masvidal and sent the fucking dude to the Shadow Realm. I mean, total and complete oblivion. Man, it was fucking epic. I enjoyed that fight. I keep watching that knockout over and over. And from there on out, he went to war basically with Colby Covington for two whole fights. And people pretty much had to give him his flowers. They had to give him his respect. And I must say, man, looking back at it now, what they wouldn't give just to have Kamaru Usman back as champ, because he defended the title, and he was one of the most, well, he became one of the most entertaining welterweight champions of all time. And for that, I put Kamaru Usman at the number three spot, man. And I think his legacy would only be solidified with the years to come, and he's definitely going to be a future Hall of Famer. In at number two, we have Maximus Holloway, and you guys had to see this coming. What can I say? The first time I saw Max Holloway fight, it was against Brian Ortega. I remember sitting down thinking, I've never seen anyone got their ass whooped that bad. Like, he broke the records for significant strike. Like, significant strikes landed per second, per minute, per round, per fight. He landed it all. And then I remember thinking this guy is one of the best, or the best fighter. Like, at the moment, I'm like, fuck everyone else. He's like the shit. And I was like, yeah, it is what it is. Thinking he could not have topped that. His next fight against Calvin Cater. Oh boy. He doubled significant strikes. He fucked Calvin Cater up while talking to commentary and dodging his punches, screaming at the top of his lungs, "I'm the best boxer in the UFC," while looking away and dodging punches. This guy is a fucking menace. And then I was blown away. And then he had a crazy war with Yair Rodriguez. This guy does not have boring fights. He knocks out Korean Zombie. And then, we said, hey, that's it for him. He's accomplished everything. Two-time featherweight champion. I don't think there's anything else. He calls out the baddest motherfucker, or the BMF champion, Justin Gaethje. Say, hey, let's do it at 155. Let's fight at 155. They fight. He beat the shit out of Justin Gaethje for 5 rounds essentially, and with 10 seconds left in the fifth round, he pointed to the center of the octagon. They stepped up, they traded, and Max Holloway knocked Justin Gaethje the fuck out, where he was, I believe, a plus 400 or 500 underdog, and man, it blew the collective minds of the MMA fan base. Like, it blew our minds. This guy is amazing, and he's going up against Ilya Topuria in a couple of weeks, looking like the greatest featherweight of all time. I'm sure he will get that honor, but yeah, for those reasons, I have Max Holloway as number two on my list. And last but not least, in at number one for my most favorite UFC fighter of all time, it is Israel Adesanya. Botched. Now, a lot of people are going to be upset with this, but let me give you guys the backstory as to how I began watching the UFC in the first place. So, it's September 2021. I was sitting at my desk. I was working at a call center, sitting at my desk. On my lunch break, a UFC pop up, you know, It came up showing before and after. It has this segue segment, whereas it's like before and after a fighter fights on the subject. Like for instance, let's say they have Khabib before and after their Khabib's opponents fight him, and then right under I believe it was Connor first, and then we had Israel Adesanya. Adesanya, I didn't know anything about MMA. That was my first day, and same time I had my friend Yuanse. Shout out to you, brother. Yuanse walked up same time. He said, "Oh, so you're watching UFC now?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, I want to see what it's about." He said, "Oh, you're watching Israel," and I was like, "Israel? I don't know him. I now start watching and whatnot." And he was like, "Yeah, you need to watch that video. Israel Adesanya, he's a skinny guy. He's from Africa. He's one of the best. That's in her Guyanese language. That's what he said to me." And I was like, "All right, cool, bet." So I clicked on the video, and boy, they did a great documentary piece on all of Izzy's fight leading up to that. And the last fight was him knocking out Robert Whitaker to earn the middleweight championship for the first time. Since then, I began watching UFC with the Fight Night card after that. And almost 3 years later, I'm still here. I'm one of the biggest UFC fans because of it. And this is one of the main reasons why I have to put Easy number one. He started me out in the sport, and oh boy, where do I start? First things first, he had a, a striking masterpiece with Anderson Silva, which I started off my video with earlier. Anderson Silva pretty much had a passing of the torch moment with Israel Adesanya, whereas they bowed, and it was such a special moment. And then after that, he went on to beat Kelvin Gastelum in a fight of the year contender. Then he knocked out Bobby Whitaker and earned the middleweight strap. Talk about his fighting style after that, especially the Romero fight and whatnot. Yeah, he had some boring fights. Yeah, he's a bit cringe at times. Like, in terms of his speaking and rebuttals and that sort of stuff. But I'm a true hardcore fan. Never mind, I've only been watching for 3 years. This is a guy that researched the entire history of the UFC in a span of 2.5 months, and I learned every fighter, every style, every fan favorite, and I even fell in love with some of the fighters myself. No Diddy, in terms of I'm talking about their fighting style. So yeah, pretty much Israel Adesanya. He has forever captivated me with his fighting style, what he accomplished in the sport, and there's no way I could have put anyone else. But this is just pretty much uh, my list, guys, with all of the UFC fighters of all time, of my favorite UFC fighters of all time. Let me know what you guys think about all of my picks down below. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you like watching my content, hit that subscribe button, hit that post notification bell, like and comment down below. And for now, this is your boy saying peace.